Hi, my name is Ernest, and my purpose for this video is to reach out to that man or woman whose life is being controlled by drugs, who's caught up in the grips of active addiction and can't see their way out. I want to share a message with you that was shared with me a little over 2 years ago. And that message is that we as addicts can recover, that we can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. I started using drugs at a very young age, and I had a lot of reasons why I did it. Low self-esteem, low self-worth, insecurity, not fitting in, wanting to fit in, curiosity, etc. With all those reasons, though, the bottom line is that I made a choice. I made a conscious decision to use drugs. And as a consequence of that decision, I went through a lot of years of pain and misery. Drug addiction progressed into every area of my life. It got very bad very fast. As a direct result of this disease, I ruined a lot of meaningful relationships with friends and family. As a direct result of this disease, I spent over 16 years of my life in prison. As a direct result of this disease, I've been in and out of institutions and treatment centers, derelict on the street. And although I did not physically die, emotionally and spiritually, I died. I had nothing left. I had no values. I had no morals. My life was all about the getting, using, and finding ways and means to get more. And I did whatever it took for me to get it. And with all this evidence in my life that I was headed down a destructive path, I did not stop. 7 times in prison, I did not stop. Losing my wife and my kids, I did not stop. Going into treatment centers and coming out, I did not stop. Life being in jeopardy, I did not stop. There's a saying in the 12-step programs that an addict can be counseled with, he can be reasoned with, he can get psychiatry, he can be threatened, he can go to jail, he can get beat up, but an addict will not stop using until he's ready to stop. And I used to ask myself the question, like, Ernest, why is it that you continuously go back to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, knowing what's going to happen to you? And at that point in my life, I didn't know the answer. In the 12-step program, they call that insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But at that time in my life, I didn't understand what was going on. But today, I can honestly answer that question and say that the reason I kept going back is because in and of myself, I couldn't stop. I didn't want to admit that, though. I felt like I was big enough, bad enough, slick enough, or smooth enough that I was gonna outsmart this disease if I just did it this way or did it that way, or if I just got the material stuff back, or if I didn't use a certain drug that my life would change. And in the end, I always got the same results: jails, institution, and emotional and spiritual death. And for some, they don't reach an emotional or spiritual death; they actually physically die. And that's the nature of this disease. This disease is very cunning, it's baffling, and it's more powerful than any one person is by themselves. And I had to realize that. But after so many years of this pain and misery, I got to a point where I truly wanted my life to change. I got to a point where I no longer wanted to live that way of life. And I can remember my last night of getting high, where I was crying and I was getting high and I was praying at the same time, God, please stop this because I can't. And I believe, and it was in that moment where I honestly surrendered, where I gave up the fight, where I realized in and of myself that I could not do this alone, and if I did not get help, that I would die. And because of this surrender, I was led to a 12-step program. And this program has changed and saved my life. It has done for me what nothing else in these 20-some odd years was able to do. But the only reason that stuff worked in my life was that I became completely beaten. I got to a point where where I was desperate, that I was willing to stop trying to do it my way, do something different, ask for help, and be willing to follow the suggestions that were given me in order to change and save my life. I didn't know how to become a respectable and responsible, productive member of society. I did not know how to live clean. I had never done it. For as long as I can remember, I've always used drugs. But there came a time in my life where all the denial, all the lies, all the illusions had to go out of the window, and I had to face myself in the mirror, and I had to say, Ernest, if you don't do something right now, your life is going to end. You are going to die in active addiction. Your life is not going to mean anything. This is the imprint that you're going to leave on the world. This is the imprint that your kids and your family members, this is the way that they're going to remember you. And I didn't want to go out like that. I did not want to die like that. So I reached out and I cried out and I asked God to please stop this because I couldn't. And just so happened I was led into a 12-step program. I'm not saying that this is the route that you should take. I'm not advocating any programs. I'm not saying that your bottom has to be my bottom. What I'm saying is that you have to get to a point in your life where you're done, where you make up in your mind and in your heart that I've had enough. I cannot take this no more. Reach out for help and be willing to follow the suggestions that people give you in order to get your life clean. For me, this was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do, to actually admit that I don't know something, because as an addict, I'm very self-centered, and that lifestyle, doing all the robbing and stealing and things of that nature used to give me that feeling of self-sufficiency. Like if I don't do it, it won't get done, and or I don't want to beg, and I'll go out and I'll do whatever necessary to get what it is. But I realize today that self-sufficient attitude doesn't work in recovery. That I actually needed help to get out of the situation that I was in. If I could have done it in and of myself, I wouldn't be sitting here now. I would have still been out there doing something. I would not have to have come into recovery in order to get help. I would not have spent 16 years of my life in prison. I would not have ruined so many relationships. I would not have taken myself through so many years of pain and misery. And what I'm telling you is that your pain and misery can stop now. You don't have to take yourself through any more of this. Today, right now, your life can change if you just reach out and ask for help and allow someone to help you. I found out once I came into recovery that I was not alone. That I did not have to do this by myself. That this was not a journey that I had to walk alone. There are millions of recovering addicts. There are millions of people who have found a solution and are living clean lives. As a result of coming into recovery, I've learned how to be a respectable and responsible and productive member of society. I've learned how to stay clean just for today. I've learned how to do that. I have tools that I use today that help me to get through life. Today I don't have to run from life. I can face myself in the mirror. Today I don't have problems. Today I have situations and I have ways and means to deal with those situations. Today I can actually live in reality. And what I'm trying to share with you is that you can also live in reality, because active addiction is not a reality. Active addiction is an illusion. It's a fantasy world. We live in active addiction in order to change our perception, so that we don't have to feel that things are not monumental to us, that we just don't care, so to speak. Drug addiction will suppress our conscience and our values and our morals, and it will push us to limits that if we were not high, we wouldn't go to. But I had to get to a point where I didn't want to live like that again. I had to be completely beaten. I had to get to a point where I was so desperate that I was willing to do anything necessary to stay clean. And I reached out for help. And there were a lot of people that came to my aid. And these people took the time out of their lives to share with me what has been shared with them. And that's the message that I just gave you, that we as addicts can recover, that we can stop using drugs and lose the desire to use, that we can find a new way of life. But the bottom line is we have to want it. This is not something that we can just get by thinking about it. This is not something that we can intellectualize our way through. This is something that has to come from the heart, and it has to have, in this we have to have some honesty, some open-mindedness, and some willingness to do some certain things different. You know, because our way keeps getting us in jails, institutions, and dying. And it's when we let go of our will and turn our will over to a power greater than ourselves, whether that be the rooms of a 12-step program or religion or whatever path it is that you take. Put your heart into it. Give it everything you got, because your life depends on it. And I guarantee you, your life can change. As long as you're willing to do what is necessary to change. As long as you're willing to face life on life terms, or willing to learn some tools and some skills to help you cope and face life on life terms, you can recover. I hope that I've encouraged some people. As a recovering addict myself, I do want to tell you that it works as long as we work it, as long as we live it, as long as we apply certain things in our lives, certain principles in our lives, we can recover. It's worked in my life. And I know if it can work in my life, a 7-time convicted felon, 24 years of active addictions, been there, done that. If it can work in my life, it can work in anyone's life. So I hope that I've encouraged some people. I hope that I've actually placed some thoughts in your head to make you sit back and think about what it is you really want out of life. Do you really want to continue down that path of destruction, or do you really want a life better than what you've been living? If you really want that life better than what you've been living, you can have it. There are hotlines. There are 12-step programs. They're all over the world. All you got to do is reach out for that help and take advantage of that help when you get it. And I want to thank you for watching this video. This video, I do want to say that this video is not affiliated with any group. I'm not advocating any programs or anything like that. I'm just one addict trying to reach out and help another addict. Again, I hope I've encouraged some people. If you have any comments or anything, you can befriend me or send me a message on Facebook. My name is Ernest Winters. That's ERNEST Winters, WINTERS. Or you can send me an email at icantlose@aol.com. That's lowercase EICANTLOSE at AOL.com. I would love your comments or whatever, your insights, your feedback. But I do want to share once again that we do recover as addicts, that we can stop using and lose the desire to use. I'm doing it. I'm a living witness. Thank you.